like that. So I'll ask you the questions in a precise manner.
Okay. Well, whatever question I cannot answer, I will refer to someone who knows more than I, and that's past International President BTM Araj.
That's so humble of you.
Dr. Dilip, I had tough time to compile your profile into a 2-minute introduction. Yours is so prolific.
Actually, for me, 15 seconds will be fine. Don't worry about giving all that stuff.
No, we will make it interesting.
Very pleasure to see you, at least person.
Yeah, thank you, Rammohan. Pleasure is mine. I feel like I've gone home. So many people who look like they could be from Sri Lanka or India. You know, I just feel that common bond.
Hi, Dr. Dilip. This is Manzoor Moidin. I'm the current Club Growth Director of District 116.
Wonderful, Manzoor.
I'm not from Sri Lanka, but I love Sri Lanka and people from Sri Lanka.
Oh, wonderful! You have good sense. Thank you, Manzoor. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Dr. Dilip, we have a region advisor, Sunil Kotaratil. He's also joined us today. He's
wonderful.
Sunil.
Hi, sir.
Good. Oh, hello. Sunil Kotaratil. Wonderful. Region advisor. Congratulations.
Thank you. We have met few times at the convention, international convention, and it's great to see you here addressing District 116.
Thank you. It's my honor to be with you.
Thank you.
So, Sunil, is this your first year or second year as RA?
This is the first year. This April 1st started.
Okay.
And anyway, with the District 116 and the whole districts, they are so wonderful. I don't have to do anything. Just enjoy them, enjoy they are doing whatever they're doing.
Last year you were in the spotlight, District 116, #1 in the world.
Yeah.
I had the honor of carrying the Toastmaster flag.
What's that?
I had the honor of carrying the Toastmaster flag.
Oh, Sundaresan, yeah, right.
Sunil, you are lucky. You are lucky, Sunil. You have a manual. When I was a first region advisor, we had no manual.
Yeah. The manual.
Can we start?
See, what you created, what you did has laid the groundwork for the kind of structure we have now.
We did the groundwork for the future RS.
Right.
First RS didn't have anything.
Shall we start 8:30 now?
8:30.
All right.
Okay.
Are we set?
Yes, Lynn.
Yes, Lynn, go ahead, please.
All right. His Excellency K. Ratnasingam, Chargé d'Affaires, Sri Lankan Embassy in Qatar. Past International President, Distinguished Toastmaster, Dr. Dilip Abayashekra. Past International President, Distinguished Toastmaster, Balraj Arunasalam. Region Advisors, Distinguished Toastmaster, Shehbaz Ali. Distinguished Toastmaster, Sunil Kotaratil. Distinguished Toastmaster, James Edward. And Distinguished Toastmaster, Sandra Cooper. District Program Quality Director, Distinguished Toastmaster, Tayalan K. Distinguished Club Growth Director, Distinguished Toastmaster, Manzoor Moidin. District 116 Director, Distinguished Toastmaster, Raghavan Menon. Immediate Past District Director, Distinguished Toastmaster, Rajeshwar Sundaresan. Division, Area Directors, District Officials, Club Officials, fellow Toastmasters, and Toastmasters from all over the world, good evening. I'm Lorna Lynn Talad, welcoming each one of you for the leadership lectures organized by District 116 leadership team. Before we start, let me read out the district mission and inform you the flow of the program and ground rules. District mission: We build new clubs and support all clubs in achieving excellence. Now, the flow of the program are as follows. The formal inauguration by District 116 Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Raghavan Menon. The introduction of speaker by immediate past District Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Rajeshwar Sundaresan. Leadership talk by past International President, Distinguished Toastmaster Dr. Dilip Abayashekra. Question and answer session will be handled by Distinguished Toastmaster Surya Narayanan. Felicitation by dignitaries. Closing remarks and vote of thanks by District Program Quality Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Tayalan K. Ground rules. First, except for the presenter, all other attendees' mic will be kept in muted condition to avoid disturbances. Number 2, please do not enable your camera at any time unless requested. Number 3, I am sure you will be having multiple questions while listening to Distinguished Toastmaster Dr. Dilip. Please send it in the chat box to Distinguished Toastmaster Surya Narayanan as and when the lecture is going on, and do not wait till the end to send. It would be easy for him to handle. Please keep your questions purposeful, short, straight to the point, and relevant. Let me repeat. Please keep your questions purposeful, short, straight to the point, and relevant. Moving forward, to officially open our meeting for this evening, it is my great pleasure and honor to invite the exuberant, eminent, and enthusiastic District 116 Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Raghavan Menon. Let's give him a round of applause, please.
Thank you, Lynn. His Excellency K. Ratnasingham, Charge d'Affaires, Sri Lankan Embassy in Qatar, past International President, Distinguished Toastmaster Dilip Abayashekra, past International President DTM Balraj Arunachalam, Region Advisors, Distinguished Toastmasters Ali Shabas Ali, Sunil Kotaratil, James Edward, and Sandra Cooper, District Program Quality Director, Distinguished Toastmaster K. Tayalan, District CGD, Distinguished Toastmaster Mansoor, other past, present, district, division, area, and club leaders, and all our guests from other districts, good evening. I hereby welcome you all to this Leadership Lecture 3 and declare this District 116 District Leadership Lecture 3 open. Many of you must be familiar with what we call it as a SWOT analysis, the strategic tool used by organizations to find out the strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threat. What does this SWOT tells us? With every threat, there is an opportunity. You all will agree that when this COVID pandemic attacked all of us, we were confused. But later, a realization that we are all here with facing this problem together gave us some relief, and we started thinking how to come out of it. In fact, this has given us a lot of time to connect with families. I have met many of my family members whom I have not met for many years through online meetings. So this is a plus point of the COVID. When our district realized that our in-person meetings are not going to be there immediately, then we sat together and decided, and as per the direction from TI, we decided to go in for online meeting. Initially, there is a lot of resistance or no acceptance. Many clubs thought this is too technical and difficult to understand. That is the time we appointed something called as online meeting guides. They went to each and every club, helped them conduct online meetings, and they made it look very easy. and that has encouraged almost all the clubs to go online. I'm proud to say that our district now conducts about 95% of clubs regular online meetings. That's an incredible achievement when I compared with many other districts happening online meetings. We are on the top. In fact, I recently got an invitation from TI also to give some suggestions based on our high rate of online meetings happening in District 116. Congratulations to all the clubs and members of the clubs. Now, COVID-19, when it brought in this little bit of negativity or lack of enthusiasm among members, the district thought how to boost their enthusiasm and also to give them more value for their memberships. That is how our immediate past district director, Rajeshwar Sundaresan, suggested, why not we have something called as a leadership lectures. And today we are going to have the third in the series of leadership lectures. And this will bring in a lot of positivity and togetherness among our members, I'm sure. And thank you very much, past international president, distinguished Toastmaster, accredited speaker, and second place winner in the World Championship of Public Speaking. A beautiful combination of leadership and speaking skills. Dr. Dilip Abhesekara for accepting our request to be the speaker today. I'm sure all of us are going to learn and enjoy from his speech. Back to Len MC, please.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Raghavan Menon, for that wonderful inauguration speech. Now to introduce our speaker, may I invite the distinguished Toastmaster who has taken the district to magnitude as the #1 district in the world in his term. He heads the Internal Audit Department of Taster Group of Companies. Immediate past district director, distinguished Toastmaster Rajeshwar Sundaresan. A round of applause, please.
Thank you, Lynn. I'm surprised you could pronounce my name quite well.
Yeah, I have introduced you twice already.
Thank you. Thank you for that. For our third leadership lecture tonight, we have an extraordinary guest. In a nutshell, if I put it in a nutshell, he's a published author, accredited speaker, certified disc trainer, communication expert, inspirational keynote speaker, and most importantly, past president of Toastmasters International. I'm talking about Dr. Dilip Abhesekara. Dr. Dilip Abhesekara was international president of Toastmasters in the program year 2005-2006 with an excellent theme, Find Your Voice, Serve Your World. Dr. Dilip, as he is well known, was twice finalist in the World Championship of Public Speaking in 1992 and 1993, and he was placed second in the year 1992. In 1996, he received the accredited speaker designation for his professional level speaking skills, one of the biggest accomplishments in Toastmasters. And he got a presidential citation from Toastmasters for service to the organization. In academic side, Dr. Dilip earned his PhD in organic and polymer chemistry from Virginia Commonwealth University in the USA. In fact, my daughter is also an alumni there. After working for 12 years as an industrial scientist, he surrendered to his avocation, that is hobby, connecting, influencing, and enriching others through the power of spoken word. He started a coaching company now known as Dr. Dilip LLC. And I was surprised to see his list of clients includes Pentagon, Hershey, PNC Bank, and the United Nations Development Program. And he's author of 2 books. One is called The Path of Genie, and he co-authored Public Speaking with Power, Passion, and Purpose. Dr. Abhesekara has served as a faculty of the Eastern University and continues to lecture at the Central Penn College. I was surprised to see that Dr. Dilip has trained and inspired thousands of people throughout the United States and 9 other countries. What an inspiration. He is well known for his training in communication, creative thinking, relationship building, human behavioral styles, leadership, and spiritual enrichment. I found a quote. If you want to change the world, he says, don't wait for the world to change. Just look at the old world with new eyes. I have met Dr. Dilip in international conventions. I remember those of you who attended Mr. Balraj, past international president Balraj Arunachalam's address in Qatar. He talked about Dr. Dilip with so much awe and respect for his exceptional leadership qualities, stern commitment, and effortless guidance. I hope, and that is what made me so much interested to know him better. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, with great pleasure and privilege, I introduce DTM Dr. Dilip Abhishekara for leadership lecture for District 116 Qatar, titled Encounter with Serendipity. Over to you, Dr. Dilip.
Thank you very much. Immediate Past District Governor Rajesh Sundaresan, I appreciate your kind introduction. Mr. District Director Raghu Menon, distinguished Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. I consider this a great privilege to be given an opportunity to address you. We are at one of the critical moments in Toastmasters history where the world that we knew has changed. We are on the cusp of something new. 10, 15, 20 years from now, people will look back and ask, were you there when that happened? And you can say, yes, I was there. And now we are in a position to decide what we are going to do. What is the legacy we will leave behind? So that many years from now, people look back and look at District 116 and say, how did they overcome their challenges? What inspiration can we give them from the way we decide to live today and tomorrow and the day after? That is our challenge. I'll begin by giving you a table topic. I know you were not expecting table topics from me, but there's one table topic question, and I ask you to write down the word that comes to your mind when I ask you, why did you join Toastmasters? In one word, what has been your experience in Toastmasters? Write one word that you say that sums up my experience in Toastmasters. And I'm going to stop talking and give you a moment to reflect and write down one word that you think captures the essence of your experience in Toastmasters. Go ahead. For table topics, you're given 1 to 2 minutes, so I'm just going to give you a few seconds. I'm just asking you to write down one word. Then we'll come back to that, and I will ask you to look at that. But I will answer my own table topic question by giving you my one word. And that one word is serendipity. S-E-R-E-N-D-I-P-I-T-Y, serendipity. Why did I pick that word? Well, we go to the meaning of that word. Serendipity means the occurrence of an unplanned, fortunate event. The occurrence of an unplanned, fortunate event. This is the way it worked in my life. I joined Toastmasters because I thought that all I was getting was a group of people who would listen to my speeches. I love to speak. That's why I joined Toastmasters. That's what I thought I was getting. But what I really received was something far, far greater. It was a serendipitous event when I discovered what Toastmasters had to offer, and that changed my life. I'm sure that many of you listening to me today can nod to that and say, yep, that's what happened to me. I thought I was going to get one thing, but then when I stayed and experienced what Toastmasters has to offer, it opened my eyes. I saw the old world with new eyes. I saw new possibilities. And that serendipitous event changed my life. Let me just give you a brief background about my Toastmasters journey, and then we will talk about your journey. Because my journey is connected to your journey. Because as human beings, we are all connected. But in Toastmasters, we have a special connection, a worldwide network. When I joined Toastmasters in 1986 in St. Louis, Missouri, I just was looking for an opportunity to speak. And then I discovered that Toastmasters had something called speech contests. So I threw myself into that. And my first goal was to win the World Championship of Public Speaking. Within a few years, I had won many, many speaking awards, but what really happened was I started changing inside. There's something that happens when one formulates a speech. You know this from experience, because you have to not only go into your mind, you have to go into your heart. You have to dig deep and put something of yourself into that speech. That's why when you speak, people should be able to say, oh, only he could have given that speech, because he was giving a piece of his life. When you speak Raghu Menon, people should be able to say, that was Raghu, only he could have given it that way. When you speak Toastmaster Sundaresan, people should be able to say, wow, we got a glimpse into the heart of Sundaresan. So what I found was, as I dug into developing and delivering speeches that were meaningful, I was developing myself. As we heard in 1992, when after I placed second, I started getting many, many invitations to speak, to give keynotes, to do training seminars at districts and so forth. And that what I found was my experience was common with those who have stayed in Toastmasters. Those who have stayed in Toastmasters, those who entered for one reason, but stayed and discovered a deeper meaning. I know that District 116 is going through a very tough time, just as many other districts are. Many Toastmasters are considering whether they should stay in Toastmasters. Many Toastmasters may have decided not to renew their dues. I empathize with that feeling. I put my way through college by doing a number of odd jobs, but one of the jobs I did was selling. I discovered that that was one of the great formative experiences of my life, because I had to learn how to listen to people, how to present a product, and how to show how my product met their needs. And one day, one of my sales trainers told me about the Ben Franklin clause. The Ben Franklin clause is something that Benjamin Franklin came up when he was deciding whether he should do one thing or do another thing. Should I do this or should I do that? Then I was told how to write a Ben Franklin close. I take a piece of paper and I draw a line down the center. So there is space on the left-hand side, space on the right-hand side. And then on one side, I write why I should do one thing. On the other side of the paper, I write why I should do the other thing. So in District 116, for those Toastmasters who are wondering whether it's worth it in this terrible time when jobs have been lost, you may have lost considerable income. Why should you continue to invest in Toastmasters, put your money into the membership funds of that club? Why should you invest when you are not sure whether a month, 2 months, or 3 months from now, whether you'll be able to feed your family adequately? These are all reasonable questions. So I put on the left-hand side of this column why one might consider leaving. Good reasons. One, you save money on the dues payment. Two, what will happen is you will have more time to do your job search. Three, an effect of this is that you will cut short your learning and development that Toastmasters offers. So there are three things that will happen if you choose to terminate your membership. What happens if you choose to stay on? Well, here are 12 things that I came up with. You will spend on your dues payment. You got to think of it as an investment. You will continue to learn and develop. 3, you will build communication and leadership skills that will make you more valuable to your employer. You will continue to build on what you have achieved so far. 4, you will earn additional credentials. 5, you will find opportunities to learn new skills. 6, you will be mentored by senior Toastmasters and skilled Toastmasters in areas that you want to learn and grow in. 7, you will have an opportunity to mentor others, to help others grow. 8, you will feel supported and encouraged by your fellow Toastmasters. Yes, even though you can't meet in person right now, as DTM Raghu mentioned, you continue to meet online. 95% of clubs in District 116 are meeting online. You will continue to feel supported and encouraged by your fellow club members. 9, you will have access to a worldwide network of fellow Toastmasters. This leadership lecture is an example. And here I am in Sunbury, Pennsylvania, talking with you through the internet and Zoom. And it's as if I'm right next to you. You will have access to a worldwide network of fellow Toastmasters. 10, you will be regularly exposed to learning and being inspired by fellow club members. This is part of your investment, learning from others. And in Toastmasters, we say, everybody learns from everybody else. And you will have that privilege. 11, you will be productive while you're sheltering at home. You will be productive while you're sheltering at home. And number 12, if you stay on in Toastmasters, you will find your voice. And I'll say more about that later. But you will find your voice. For me, when I joined Toastmasters in 1986, all I thought I was getting was a group of people who would listen to my speeches. But what I got was far more valuable. I discovered myself. I found my voice. And that gave me a vehicle to serve my world. So today it is with joy I share my voice with you to serve you, my fellow Toastmasters, my friends from around the world. Because that's what we do in Toastmasters. We discover our voices and then we serve the world. But there was much more that I discovered as I went along. I found that Toastmasters is not just about doing manual speeches or nowadays doing pathways and earning credentials. It's much more than winning trophies at speech contests. I found that I had opportunity to be mentored by great people who otherwise I would not meet. One person who changed my life was my great Toastmaster mentor, past international president Ted Wood. In 1993, I was considering trying to win the World Championship one more time. I think Ted Wood read my mind. At a district conference, he came to me and said, "Dilip, we know you can speak, but I ask you to consider another way to serve. We need you in leadership. We need you in leadership." He said that, looked at me, and walked away. And as I listened to him, I saw what he was saying. In Toastmasters, yes, at first it's about ourselves. We want to achieve at a high level. But at some point, we go through a change. And it's this change I'm talking about today. A change that makes you look at the old world with new eyes. And I looked at it and asked, what can I do for Toastmasters? What can I do to serve my fellow Toastmasters? It's not about winning another trophy. It's about serving, being a servant for this organization that has changed my life. And so I decided to run for leadership. I became the Lieutenant Governor Marketing, which is the same as the Club Growth Director title nowadays. And then from that day on, I devoted my life to service in leadership. And I found that that was so fulfilling because it was as if I was taking my life, squeezing it, getting the best ingredients out of it, and then pouring it into the lives of other people. People, I believe, could continue to give service to our organization. So I ask you, if you are considering leaving Toastmasters now when times are tough, I ask you to consider the 12 points I gave you why you should stay in Toastmasters versus the 3 points for leaving Toastmasters. The 12 points point to you discovering your voice and finding a way to serve your world. At some point you say, I wasn't put in this world for myself. I was put into this world to make a difference for others. When you can say that, you have switched. You had gone from one way of thinking about yourself, and you're achieving at a high level, and then going to another way of thinking. Where you say, I'm not here for myself. I don't know what your faith is. I'm a Christian by faith, but I believe that God has put me on this earth for a purpose. And that purpose is much bigger than I am. It's much bigger than myself. It's about service. So that one day, when I'm gone, my legacy will be as one who served and made life easier for others. Find a bigger purpose than yourself. That's what I'm saying. Find a bigger purpose than yourself. And when you find it, you will live a life that is fulfilling. But in order to find it, you've got to find your voice. Find your voice. For me, that was the serendipity in Toastmasters. I went thinking I could use my voice and have people listen to me. But what I discovered over the years was that I found my voice, the person I am inside, that can be used to be a blessing for others. You'll find that as you discover mentors, as I mentioned, past International President Ted Wood, who passed away some years ago, but whose legacy remains in my heart. You yourself will want to mentor others. So look at your crowd there. There are 105 people listening to this. Look around and you will find that there are people who have mentored you. Make a note to thank them. All right, so that's part of your homework after this event. Send a note, make a phone call, send an email, send a text message, and thank someone who's blessed you. Then also look around and ask, who can I bless? And when you start thinking beyond yourself, you discover life is more than just looking after me. It's about doing what I can to help people discover their own voices. It gives you meaning and purpose to overcome the challenges that life throws at you. Toastmasters changed my life, as I mentioned. I was a scientist when I joined Toastmasters. And then 10 years later, I started doing coaching and training and public speaking workshops. I started my own business. And then gradually I left the scientific field and focused on my own business. Then I became a university lecturer. I became the assistant to a college president. All these things would not have happened if not for the influence of Toastmasters. I had the privilege of meeting great people, not only on the board, but elsewhere. In 2003, when I was serving as third vice president, I was invited by the Colombo Toastmasters Club in Sri Lanka to come there and do some training. The president of that club, of the Colombo Toastmasters Club, was Mr. Balraj Arunasalam, your past international president, who has done amazing things for Toastmasters. But at that time, he was club president. And when we met, it was like we were old friends already. And Balraj has given me so much joy as I have seen how he has risen to provide leadership and vision, inspiration and guidance to our organization. I just wonder, among the 105 people listening to this today, how many future international presidents there are. And you don't have to have a title to serve. I know we have past international directors, we have past regional advisors in the audience, we have a current regional advisor in the audience. But you don't have to have a title to serve. All you need is a heart to serve and be a positive influence for somebody else's life. Other discoveries that I made was that Toastmasters offers a never-ending banquet. A never-ending banquet. Have you been to one of those? It's like when you go there, I just lost my connection here. 1 second.
Doctor, we can hear you and see you.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, my screen has gone blank. So
no, but we can hear you.
Okay. All right. So I will continue to speak. I wish I could see some of the faces and the names, but I will continue. I just hit relaunch and hopefully it'll come back. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can. We can see you as well as hear you both.
All right. All right. It just says launching on my screen. So hopefully it'll come back. So I was talking about other discoveries that I've made. One discovery I was just talking about is that we learn from so many people. We thought we were going to learn from the manuals. Yes, we did. We thought we were going to learn from being in speech contests. Yes, we will. But we learn from others so much more. And some of my greatest friends in life are ones that I have met in Toastmasters. Some of the people I admire most are people I have met in Toastmasters. That's why one of the past international directors who has passed away, who I admired for a long time, she was from Florida. She said this in her speeches once in a while. She said, if you get out of Toastmasters what you can get out of Toastmasters, you will never get out of Toastmasters. Do you follow what I'm saying? If you get out of Toastmasters what you can get out of Toastmasters, you will never get out of Toastmasters. That is my wish for you. And when we started, I asked you to write down what is the essence of what you have got out of Toastmasters. Why did you join Toastmasters? What was that early desire that launched you into joining this worldwide organization? Look at the word you wrote down. Look at that word. Maybe you want to come up with another word now that you've heard me talk for a little while. But that word means a world to you. Usually when people join Toastmasters, it's to improve their confidence in speaking, to get more skilled in speaking, once in a while to build their leadership skills. But what I have talked with you about is far more than that. It is about a vision for life, but a vision for why you are here on this earth. And if you choose not to renew your membership, you're walking away from that. There's a great book written a long time ago by a man named Russell Conwell. It's called Acres of Diamonds. I wonder whether any of you have read that. If I was there in person and I could see you, I would ask you to raise your hands, but I can't even see you on my screen right now. Acres of Diamonds by Russell Conwell. And Russell Conwell tells a story about a man who wanted to become rich. And he had heard that among the most valuable things in the world are diamonds. He wanted to find diamonds so that he could become rich. He was in a little farm. He thought, I must go out into the world and find a diamond mine of my own. Then I will get everything I desire. So he sold his farm and he traveled the world looking for diamonds. And gradually he spent his fortune, the money he had saved, the money he had obtained by selling his house and estate. He gradually spent it until he had no more, and he still had not found his diamonds. and one day found him on the seashore, where he gave up in despair. He said, I have done my best. I have nothing to look forward to. And he jumped into the sea and drowned himself. Now, some other family had bought that property that he had. And one day, the new property owner was walking down the creek that was in his estate, and he saw something glistening. He thought, what is that? He went closer, and he found that it was a piece of rock that was shining, like one he had never seen before. He fished that out. He said, wonder what this is. It looks amazing. It is not just like any piece of stone I've seen. He went and put it on the mantelpiece above his fireplace. And every once in a while, he would look at it and admire it. But then one day, a priest came by to visit him. And the priest saw that, and he said, where did you get that from? He said, oh, I found it on the stream down here at the foot of my estate. The priest said, let me see that. He looked at it closely. He said, my friend, I believe what you have here is a diamond. He said, diamond? He said, yes, this is an uncut diamond. And that was the discovery of one of the greatest diamond finds in history, because from that diamond came the great Kohinoor diamond. From that find came the diamonds that have graced many kings and queens, many crowns, many states. And some of those diamonds are found in the British royalty's crown itself. What had happened was that the man who was living in that estate originally went out thinking there were things of great value beyond himself and beyond his estate. And he spent his fortune looking for something that was right under his nose in his own estate. So I ask you, my friends, who are considering leaving the estate of Toastmasters to wander the world to find your fortune and your security, don't leave your own diamond mind. You are living in one. It's called Toastmasters. You will discover that one of the most priceless things in life is to discover your own diamond within. Discover it, polish it. Polish it in the Toastmasters Club, in the Toastmaster experiences you gain, among the friends who help you polish that, and then help polish the diamonds of others. Because then what will happen is that the whole world will start to shine. It's not just you. It's what you do with what you have. And one more thing that I'm going to leave with you before we go to Q&A. Currently, I'm a pastor. I'm the pastor of a congregation here in Sunbury, Pennsylvania. And sometimes I have the opportunity to counsel people who are in trouble. When a husband and wife come to me who are having difficulties, I look at them and think to myself, at one point, they were in love with each other. So what has happened? So I give them an assignment. I say, think about this, and I want you to write down, each of you in your own way. What is it about my spouse that I loved and appreciated when we were in love? What is it? that I loved and appreciated. And if any one of you are thinking of leaving this marriage between you and Toastmasters, I want you to think back and say, at one point, I was excited to come to club meetings. At one point, I was excited about the opportunities. At one point, I thought I could reach certain heights that I could not without Toastmasters. What was that time? How did I feel? What did I think? Write it down. And one of the great discoveries that people make when they reflect on those early moments, that they discover that because it was in the past, it does not have to be left in the past. It can resurrect again and come alive and mean something of great value to you. Don't leave your diamond estate and go forth out into the world looking for something that is already in your own backyard. Acres of diamonds. My friends, we are all fortunate to be sitting in our own acres of diamonds, Toastmasters. Madam Toastmaster, I return control to you.
All right. That was indeed serendipitous disquisition, or I must say lecture, Dr. Dilip. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. For the question and answer session, which will be handled by an inquisitive person who is never tired and scared of asking questions himself, may I invite distinguished Toastmaster Surya Narayanan? A round of applause, please.
Thank you, Lynn. Dr. Dilip, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Unfortunately, I can't see you because of this screen trouble I'm having, but I can hear you well. So please go ahead.
Okay. I have received a flurry of questions. Your speech was wonderful, and you spoke about serendipity, and the word serendip itself comes from Sri Lanka, so no wonder you chose that word as your theme. Yeah. You got a doctorate in organic and polymer chemistry. Then you became a trainer and coach, and lately you are more into divinity.
Yes.
Dr. Dilip, how do you take the leap of faith in so many different directions?
Good question. I think my long-suffering wife has asked the same question. I think it's because I am committed to being who I believe God wants me to be. Each of us was created in a certain way, and I want to be true to myself. So when I started my studies, I thought I was going to be a chemist because I found it fascinating, intellectually fulfilling to grapple with the problems. And then as I discovered the power of communication in Toastmasters, I got more and more involved in that. And then I discovered that I had a gift that could be used to help people. When I was in my last scientific appointment, I remember that year I did 3 different speech crafts of plant workers. This was during my lunch break. I wasn't being paid for that, but because I discovered people needed that help. So I started doing that and found great satisfaction in doing that. Soon I was the person in my company that people came to when they had to make a scientific seminar, do a scientific seminar or give a talk. And then one day I thought, I was at a seminar listening to a chemical engineer give a talk, and I was listening to his science. I was making some notes, and then I suddenly realized the notes I was making was not about the science that that gentleman was presenting, but about how he could have improved his presentation. And I thought, wait a minute, I'm here as a scientist. but I'm acting like a speech coach. So there are many things you'll find in your life that indicate to you where your heart is moving. And I wanted to be true to that. That's how I started my speech coaching business. And then from there, I went to teaching and college administration. And then in this final step, then I felt God was calling me into ministry. I went to seminary part-time while I was working full-time. And after 5 years, I earned a master's in divinity and then became an associate pastor. And now I'm a full-time pastor because I have listened to the voice in my heart that says, this is what you're supposed to do. And I had trust, absolute trust in my faith and in my family, in my wife's support, that gave me the confidence to do that without wondering whether I would be making a big mistake. If your heart is right with where you are, that's where you want to be. So a good way for me to define peace is feeling that you are doing what you're supposed to do. So that's what enabled me to make all these career transitions and end up where I am.
Thank you. That's a wonderful answer, Dr. Dilip. Find your voice, serve your world was the theme during your tenure as the international president in 2005-2006. A quick reflection on the same. This question is from our immediate past district director, Sundaresan Rajeshwar.
In the old days, when I say old days, prior to, I think, about 2010, international presidents were allowed to choose their theme. Then that theme became the Toastmasters theme for the year. So when I was approaching becoming international president in 2005, I was tussling in my mind, what is the theme I could give that is meaningful for me and would be meaningful for others? And I had been thinking about this long and deep and still not found it. Then one day at about 2 a.m, I woke up thinking, I have to have that theme now. I got to have that theme. And I feel like I'm very close to it. And so leaving my wife asleep in the bed, I tiptoed out of the bedroom, went down to the basement where I keep a lot of my Toastmaster supplies and materials and books and notes. And I started looking through them, and I found a brochure which said, Find Your Voice. It was an old Toastmaster brochure. I said, yes, find your voice. That's it. But wait a minute, something is not quite complete. What is it? Because find your voice is about yourself. But I have found that Toastmasters is both about yourself and about the service you can do for others. I thought, find your voice that has 3 words. What 3 words that can I come up with to complement that? And then it came to me, serve your world. Find your voice, serve your world. I said, I think that's it. I wrote it down on a piece of paper, left it on the kitchen table where my wife could see it in the morning. And I thought, if she likes it, that's what it's going to be. So the next morning, my wife saw it, gave me a beaming smile and said, you've got it. You've got it. That's it. Find your voice, serve your world. So I wanted to tell Toastmasters that yes, we discover our voices, but remember there's a larger purpose, to make the world a better place, to ease the burdens of others, to serve others. And when we do both, then all of us win, when we find our voices and serve our world.
Great answer. And we are happy to know that even international presidents need to get their wife's approval on such things.
Yes.
We all know that our reigning world champion of public speaking, Aaron Beverly, was groomed by you. And he fondly says, Dr. Dilip taught me to love communication. Why and how should one love communication?
You know, that's a deep question. And this ties into find your voice. Because in Toastmasters, you find as you give speeches, you dig deep into yourself. A speech that is given without self-reflection is not a speech of great value. A speech that requires deep reflection and then bringing that out to give value to your audience, that is what becomes a great speech. And so what Aaron Beverly refers to that is he discovered what I was sharing with him, that giving a speech is giving a piece of yourself, a piece of yourself to your audience. And when you are able to do that, they will say, aha, that's a speech that only Dilip could have given, that only Aaron Beverly could have given, that only Balraj Arunachalam could have given, because you're giving a piece of yourself. In order to find that voice, you have to love communication, not just communication with others, but you have to communicate with yourself. That's what I mean.
That's profound.
Yes. And when you learn to communicate with yourself, you are on the path of giving great communications that are meaningful and helpful and valuable to others.
That's a wonderful answer, sir. Thank you very much. I have an interesting question from Mr. DTM Setupati from Al Banush Toastmasters. He's asking, is it okay to have anxiety? Do great leaders have anxiety? And if so, how do they handle it?
My answer is yes. It is okay to have anxiety. In fact, that is part of our human condition. But a description of courage is being willing to face your anxiety. In Toastmasters, we learn to become courageous, not run away from the anxiety, but to face it. Think of yourselves there. If you're honest, how many of you were really nervous about that icebreaker, the first speech you gave in Toastmasters? And yet you gave it. I think courage is facing anxiety and doing it anyway. And how do you overcome that? By facing it regularly, by seeking mentors to help you, by believing that you are on a path that is destined to raise you above that anxiety. And then you end up helping others overcome their own anxieties. It's okay. The same thing applies for leadership. This is a time of great anxiety for many leaders around the world. And I'm not just talking about club leaders. I'm talking about leaders of countries and nations and states. They must draw on other resources. For me, the great resources are faith, whatever your faith is, whether you're Hindu, Muslim, Buddhist, Christian, it doesn't matter. But draw upon the resources of your faith. Draw upon the love of your family. Draw upon the love and support of good friends. Draw upon the wisdom of mentors. But there's one thing that only you can do, facing that anxiety and plunging forward. If you can get all this support and then plunge forward in faith, that anxiety will soon be behind you. Will anxiety always be gone? No. Because as soon as we think we have mastered one thing, something else rears up. Last year, District 116 was on top of the world. You thought you had mastered it, right? Wrong. 2020 comes along and we get hit by this COVID-19. People are laid off, people are wondering, Toastmasters are wondering whether they should renew their dues. You're facing a possible loss of membership. It's a new anxiety. And yet the same faith that has carried you through, the same love and support and wisdom that has come together for you in the past is there available for you now. Draw on it. Don't walk away from your diamond mine. Draw on it, and you will succeed.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for the confidence. Now, DTM Ruxana asks, why don't we have many women world champions of public speaking? What is your advice to an aspiring woman speech contestant?
Well, advice number one, come to me for coaching. I've had women in leadership come to me for coaching or mentoring, and I still have some, and I'm happy to give it because I believe it is not your gender that determines your success. Women are as capable of achieving everything that a man achieves. It's not your gender. And if you think that, then the first thing I do is help them get over that mindset. All right? Just face it.
Yeah.
And overcome it and put it behind. I remember when I was a district governor and thinking that maybe I might run for the board someday, there was an Indian gentleman who had been on the board many years earlier. He was from another state, and we happened to meet at a conference. And when I told him, yeah, I'm thinking of the board and even higher if it feels right for me, he looked at me. He was from another generation, maybe about 20 years senior at that time. And he said, you have to be realistic. You know, you're not like the others. Look at your skin. And I thought, what's he trying to get to? And then I realized he's telling me that because I'm dark-skinned, I will not be able to become international president if I want to. I was polite to him, thanked him, walked away, and never sought his advice again. Because I was determined in my mind, it was not the color of my skin or where I was born and raised. It was not my height or weight or anything else than my heart that I brought to Toastmasters that mattered. Same thing I would tell women, especially women aspiring for leadership and communication success. Put it away from your mind that you have any limitations. You have no limits. And expose yourself to all the powerful thoughts in the world, things that can change the way you look at the world. Look at the old world with new eyes. The old world might say, oh, only very few women have won the world championship. So what? Look at it with new eyes and say, it's a new world. We have new possibilities. That's one. And the second is, I would say, contact past female winners of the world championship. There are few around yet. Contact them and ask them to mentor you. Set your sights at such a level that you far surpass your objections. After I won my first district championship in international speech, I decided that I was not going to speak at the club level again. I was only going to give speeches that were worthy of a world champion. So what did I do? In those days, in 1987, there were no CDs, there were no DVDs, but they had audio tapes. So I wrote to World Headquarters and got the address where I could contact them to send me audio tapes of past world championships. And I studied those audio tapes. And after that, I thought of myself as a world champion. When I gave a speech at the club, I was giving a world-class speech as far as I could determine. It took practice, it took harder work. But what I'm really saying to you women who are wondering whether you can be a world champion is, yes, you can, but you've got to set your sights far above what the average person sets. And then be willing to work hard at it. make the sacrifices. Because I had a thick accent, I thought maybe that's why I'm not winning at the regional level. I won 3 titles at the district level, but I could not win at the regional level. I thought maybe it's my accent. So I put the word out that I was looking for a professional speech coach. And one of my Toastmaster friends found someone in Philadelphia, a speech coach who gave speech coaching to professional athletes. And I spent money and time traveling back and forth to Philadelphia, where she listened to me speak and corrected me in such a way, to speak in such a way that Americans could understand what I said when I said it. It was after that that I broke through and got to the World Championship twice. So are you willing to pay the price? Don't complain and groan, but look at what I have outlined to you. You have to think differently. You have to face anxiety. You have to face objections and be above them. And then you can. And I hope that someone listening to me in that audience will one day become a woman world champion of public speaking. Come and let me know when you do that. Or I'll know about it.
Amen.
Right.
I say amen. Yeah. Lynn, do we have time for 1 or 2 more questions? 2 quick questions, sir.
Yeah.
2 quick questions. 1-word answers, probably.
Okay.
One advice to mentors, how they can bring out the best out of the proteges.
Well, you just answered that question. For mentors, you bring out the best. Don't open their heads and pour in treasures. They already got it. They just don't know it. You bring out the best. Ask questions, listen more than you speak, and then bring it out. Encourage them. They will find their own spark.
Thank you. Okay. Next 1-word answer. Other than the 4 core values of Toastmasters, what other 1 value you think is important?
Persistence. Persistence. Once you know your goal, stay focused on it, be willing to pay the price, and you will succeed.
Thank you, Dr. Dilip, for your patient answering of all our questions. Now I hand it over back to you to wind up, and then Lynn will take it over.
Thank you, Toastmaster Surya.
All right. Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Surya and Dr. Dilip. All right, fellow Toastmasters, may I invite...
Lynn, 1 second. Dr. Dilip wants 2 minutes to sum up, and then he can take it over.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make it 1 minute. Yeah. Again, I was addressing the fear and the anxiety people are feeling in District 116 about the current situation. I hope I have given enough information, ideas, and inspiration for you to break through that mental barrier. But there's a Chinese word for crisis. I had it on my screen, but unfortunately, due to technical issues here, I can't call it up. But that Chinese word is called Weiji, Weigi, Weiji. And the first part of the Chinese word means danger. The second part of the word, Ji, means changing point or critical point. It has been inaccurately explained as opportunity, but it's really a changing point, a point of change. We are now, you and I, all of us, are in a changing point in the world. There is danger, yes, but we are at a changing point. The decisions we make now will make history for us, both for our organization and for ourselves. Don't miss this opportunity. Don't miss seeing the glinting stone in the stream, that diamond that you may have overlooked. Take it up, and you will find your own acres of diamonds. May you succeed in all that you do. God bless you all. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Dr. Dilip. That was an additional vocabulary. All right. Now, fellow Toastmasters, to say a few words, may I invite Sri Lankan Charge d'Affaires, His Excellency K. Ratnasingam to say a few words on this meeting. Sir? Sir,
Hello?
please. All right.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. And I thank Mr. Dayalan Kailasapilla for giving me this wonderful opportunity. And Dr. Dilip Abhayasekara speech is very inspirational, educative, and to be very frank, his English is very, very impressive. And I'm really wondering, he maintained a very smiling profile throughout his speech. And it is really encouraging me also to join with the Toastmasters. When I'm saying this one, Mr. Arunachalam Palraj will be thinking that I'm a great liar, because last year I met him at the embassy. He visited to the embassy, and that time I told him I will be joining with the Toastmaster, but I couldn't, so far I couldn't join. However, it is today. It is a serendipitous event for me. I'm really encouraged to join, and I'm really encouraged by the speech of Dr. Abhayasekara. And I'm really appreciative of the vast knowledge Doctor is having, and the way he's answering all the questions, really, really very impressive. And I would like to say, Doctor, it's really a very good speech. And further, I would like to say, Doctor, you are not dark, and compared to all of us, compared to me, and you are very, very fair. And really, I have to thank Mr. Dayalan for giving me a beautiful evening today. And I wish all the very best to Dr. Abhayasekara and all Toastmasters to continue this one at this challenging time. Hope I will be joining with all of you very soon. Thank you very much.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Sir, for your convenience, Excellency, we'll start a Toastmasters Club in Sri Lankan Embassy itself.
Okay, okay, very soon, very soon. Very soon. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's a wonderful
idea.
Thank you.
Thank you, His Excellency K. Ratnasingam, for that beautiful words. Next, let me invite past International President, Distinguished Toastmaster Balraj Arnusalam to give a few words. Sir?
Thank you. Thank you for thank you for this opportunity to share a few words at this gathering. And so I'm sure fear and anxiety will not hit District 116. You will do it again because you're on the right track. But as usual, Dilip has put me in trouble again because I'm supposed to be the next week's speaker. And then how do you follow suit with a man like this? Right, Sir Dilip, it was a pleasure to listen to you once again. And you have, in fact, cut and polished all those diamonds in Qatar through your power of words. It was a treat to listen to you, and it was a great opportunity to be here. And I look forward to continue working with you as one of my main people who put me in trouble, and then for being the greatest mentor of my world. Help me find my voice, and I'm continuing to serve the world as you saw in me in 2003. Thank you, Dilip, and thank you for this opportunity, Raghavan, for inviting me for this evening session.
Thank you, sir. Next week it's your turn.
Thank you,
Thank
Bal.
you, Distinguished Toastmaster Balraj. Next is our region advisor, Distinguished Toastmaster Sunil Kataratil. May we hear a few words from you? DTM Sunil? All right.
Thank you, District 116, the wonderful leaders again for this opportunity to bring Dr. Dilip in front of us. It's during this time, these are the opportunities we get. A few months ago, to get Dilip to come to Qatar and present a speech like this, we'll be dreaming. Today it's a reality. So thank you, Dr. Dilip, for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you for sharing those words of wisdom. We all got benefited. I'm sure it inspired us further in our journey towards excellence. And District 116 this year also will make the whole world proud with their performance. We are sure about it. Thank you for your blessings. Thank you again, District 116 leaders.
Thank you, Distinguished Toastmaster Sunil. Now, before we conclude the meeting, may I call on the passionate and blithesome Program Quality Director to propose a vote of thanks and to conclude the meeting.
And Lynn, we have Region Advisor Ali's joined now. Can you invite him also, please? Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Now, may we hear a few words from Distinguished Toastmaster Ali Shabazz Ali. Sir?
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies. Our past international presidents, Dr. Dilip, Balraj, our district leaders, Rajeshwar, our IPDD, our DD Ragwan, PQD Thayalan, CGD Mansoor, PRM, Venkat, and all the leaders. Now, as Balraj was saying sometime back that next week it's his turn to speak and we all are waiting, looking forward for it, and it's going to be hard after Dilip speaking today. Well, I would like to tell Balraj and everybody, we are speaking like every week after every past international president. So we get thrashed every week being the last speaker, and we are out of words when we hear such amazing messages. This year, this term in Colorado, I had the opportunity when we took the same bus when Toastmasters were taken from the convention to the world headquarters in Colorado, of course. I had the opportunity to be with Dr. Dilip at the world headquarters, sharing the same table and speaking to him for a while. In that 10 to 15 minutes talk, I could see the patience in such a great leader and the words of wisdom he shared just in 10-15 minutes, the whole experiences which he got to in front of me. That was amazing. And as our incoming RA Sunil said a few months back, this would have been a dream when we would imagine Dr. Dilip coming and joining us. This all words what we hear from our past international presidents, and such a wonderful series what our PQD Thayalan has infused in District 116. I just recommend that all of us, including the RAs, we all need to walk the talk, take this and apply in our professional and personal lives. And this is what makes people like Dr. Dilip, not just leaders in Toastmasters, but in the community. And spending that 10 minutes, I will always cherish that moment with Dr. Dilip, and looking forward for next week to hear from one amazing and dynamic personality, our own Balraj Arunasalam, which is never enough to spend time with him and hear from him. Thank you very much, District 116.
Thank you, Distinguished Toastmaster Ali Shabazz Ali. Now, to propose a vote of thanks and to conclude the meeting, again, may I invite the passionate and lightsome Program Quality Director, Distinguished Toastmaster, Dayalan K.
Thank you, Lynn. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. His Excellency Kogalarangan Ratnasingam, Charge the Affairs of Sri Lankan Embassy in Qatar. Today is our keynote speaker, Dr. Dilip, District Director Raghavan Menon, Region Advisors DTM Ali Shabazz Ali and DTM Sunil Kotaratil, and past International Director Balraj Arnasalam DTM, and immediate past District Director Rajeshwar Sundaresan, and our Club Growth Director Mansoor Moidin, fellow leaders and Toastmasters, good evening. I joined Toastmasters 14 years ago, to be very precise, in April 2006. When I joined the club, my club leaders gave me a few Toastmasters magazines, and there I found one person appeared repeatedly in every magazines with a pleasant smile, pleasant and friendly smile, and that person is none other than then International President DTM Dr. Dilip Abeysekara. Below his photo, he used to give the motivational and inspirational message to all the members of Toastmasters. So that was amazing messages we used to read. And for me personally, he was the first ever international and influential leader I met in Toastmasters when I joined Toastmasters. Thank you for that opportunity today. And for me, it was a great opportunity when I met him personally 2 years ago in Chicago and had an opportunity to have a small chat with him. That was in fact a blessing for me, sir. And today in his session, we got a lot of messages. I cannot repeat everything, but one thing I can tell you a few things. Serendipity, that is occurrence of an unplanned fortunate event, and 12 reasons why we should continue with Toastmasters International, and find a bigger purpose than yourself. Find your voice. And the way you narrated the diamond story and connected with Toastmasters, and that husband-wife divorce matter, and how you connected again with Toastmasters, it was amazing, sir. Great messages and great takeaway. On behalf of District 116, I take this opportunity to extend our sincere thank you for your time and being with us here, sir, today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, PQD Dalan.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And then it is my turn to thank His Excellency Kogalarangan Ratnasingam, because when I called him and said, sir, we have one program here, our speaker is Sri Lankan born past international president. We would like to have you also there. Without any hesitation, he said, yes, Dalan, I will be there. And he was there in time to ensure that he is there with us throughout the meeting. And he gave his advice also, his take on what he learned today, what is the impact of what he had with Dr. Dilip's message. And more than that, he gave a bonus message that he would like to join Toastmasters. Sir, I will be there. I will be following up with you to ensure that you are roped into Toastmasters, either yourself alone or with the embassy itself. We'll do that definitely. And then we have our sincere thanks to past international president, ever loving DTM Balraj Arnasalam. Thank you, sir, for your time. We know you are there. It's a midnight in Sri Lanka. You are there with us and give your advice to us also now. Thank you very much. Looking forward to see you in the next week's edition. Thank you very much, our dear RAs, DTM Ali Shabazz and DTM Sunil Kotaratil, for your joining with us and giving us your take on today's session. And I would like to thank our District Director, Raghavan Menon, for taking this initiative in a very with a high spirit and ensures that every event is going with a very full involvement with the members and it is going without any issues. Thank you, DD Raghavan, for your effort. And our immediate past District Director, Rajeshwar, he is actually a guiding light and always a motivation and inspiration to us to ensure, to be very honest, he is a past international director, past district director. He can simply sit back and see what is happening. but he is as active as we are all leaders today. And thank you, sir, for your continuous support and motivation. And we have our ever-loving club growth director, Mansoor Moidin. He's always encouraging. Wherever there's a gap in promoting the event, he always comes up. Guys, what is happening? Still that promotion is not there. Please do it again. Do it again. No? That much of a reach he was trying to give it. Thank you, CGD Mansoor. Then the man behind the scene, ever-loving, our PRM, Toastmaster Venkat. He is the man of the hour now. Everybody is looking after for his technical, and he's the Zoom master now. Thank you, Venkat, for all your support. Then we have our question and answer anchor, the man who always plays with words. So he's an encyclopedia himself in English. So we are always, I used to learn a lot of vocabulary from him. Thank you, our host, DTM Surya Narayanan, for your Q&A session. Very thoughtful questions. The way you handled it, very nice. Then we have our MC of the evening, Toastmasters Lynn. Very apt, precise MCing today. Thank you very much, Lynn. Then we have our district admin manager, Pavitra, who played the role of a timer today. Thank you, Pavitra. Then after that, dear audience, our sincere thanks to each and every one of you for taking your time and attending this wonderful session and taking the right message that is required at this particular time. And if I have not thanked anyone, it is not intentional, it's my mistake. If you feel that, I am thanking you as well. My sincere thanks to you. Before I conclude, may I request Venkat to take the photos, please?
Yeah,
Venkat?
may I request all of you to switch on your camera, please? So here we go. Ready, smile, please. Thank you.
Is it done?
Yeah, it's done, PQD. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So once again, thanks to all of you. With this, I take this opportunity to adjourn leadership lectures number 3. Thank you. Once again, I adjourn the meeting.
Thank you.
Dilip, can I talk to you for a few seconds? Dilip?
Yes, yes.
Dilip, you know, whenever I am invited as a keynote speaker, Mr. Cornwell is my favorite, the most favorite writer.
Oh, I'm glad you told me. Now, since I can't see your face.
Especially in Philadelphia, when he started the Temple University.
You got it.
The Temple Baptist Church and the Good Samaritan Hospital. And all he needed was the 50 cents that from a poor girl to start all these things.
You're exactly right. You know the whole story.
Anyway,
Good for you.
Dilip, regards to Sharon.
Okay, thanks so much. And you take care. Keep up the good work there.
Thank you. Thank you.
God bless you. Bye-bye.
ഞാൻ നടന്നു മതി.
అది ప్లస్ గోవా బీచ్ కి ఎక్కువ ఫారినర్స్ వస్తారు. ఇండియన్స్ ఎంతమంది వస్తారు?
Thank you very much, leaders.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Dilip.
Thank you, Dr. Dilip.
Thank you.
It was a wonderful session.
Yeah.
Been my pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you, leaders, for joining us. Thank you, PQD. Thank you, Didi.
Thank you, Venkat. Yeah.
Thank you, DTM Surya.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nishi.
Now I got the camera.
Thank you, Nizar. Thank you.
Late better than never, Dr. Dilip.
Hi there. Hey, you're looking good.
Thank you very much.
He's the man asked the question of anxiety.
Oh.
All right.
Sethupath's technique to
Okay,
break
then
anxiety
let's,
is ask question. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much to all of you.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be closing this meeting now. Thank you.
Yeah, you
Okay,
can close the
bye.
meeting.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Venkat.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Venki. Bye. Good night.
Thank you. Good night. Bye.
See you. See you. Good night.
అలా రిఫ్లెక్ట్ అవుతుంది